afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you, beautiful?
I am doing well. It's Wellness Wednesday.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Technically our second, but our first with the intention of starting this Wellness Wednesday with the Wellness Collective. Child, I was just living my day, like just going about my day.
Were you
With
doing? You must have been well today.
I, I was practicing some wellness today. I went to the gym. I was at the cafe, got a bunch of work done. It was a great day, and I was just going along, heading home, and I was like, "Oh, we're doing a thing today."
Pause at 5.
Pause that foul child. So here
Mm.
we are. But I am excited to start doing these, so we can engage more. But I'm always super excited about what we're doing with the Wellness Collective generally. So I'm glad to kick this off today. So before we get into what the Wellness Collective is and what folks can look forward to, how are you today?
I'm actually well. Today was a wellness day for certain things. Schedule appointment for self care. Um, had some dope sessions today, and just paced the day. Like I didn't stack my day. It was or intentionally I paced it, so that it just like kind of was a breeze. It's the 1st of February, 2023 is definitely heavy into the mix. So it actually has been a good day that has been paced, and I'm looking forward to this call because I don't think that people really know all of the things that are happening with the Wellness Collective, and it's a mouthful. I feel like people can chew it down as we process each live.
Yes, yes. As we talk about all the time, it's like it's hard to give the elevator pitch for the Wellness Collective because I mean it's literally systems and there's so many different moving parts. But it's all super dope. Like so, trying to capture all of it all in one breath is like difficult. So, like you, I'm excited about these conversations. So the first thing I'll just say is the Wellness Collective itself is a mutual aid collective. That means that we're a membership organization, and I use organization a little loosely, but that essentially means that everyone who's a part of the Wellness Collective, we all pour into it, so that each and every one of us, when we have a need for something, that there is resources, access, and support there for all of us, right? Like the intention is for all of us to be supported, not just some of us, not just folks who are connected to whatever, but to make sure that our communities are not only surviving but thriving. So that's on its baseline, that's what it is. So Tamara, being relatively new to the Wellness Collective, can I ask you what got you interested in being a part of what we got going on here? What excited you to be a part of the Wellness Collective?
So I would always see stuff, but I did not know how much was all the things. I would see like a logo here and there. I would see initiative by the Wellness Collective, but the mental wellness speed dating for me was like the hook, line, and sinker that really had me go down, I call it the rabbit hole. And so being a part of it as a practitioner, it gave me the opportunity to hold space with other practitioners and learn some things about other things that maybe were not privy to me at the time, or not being as connected, because whenever you're in that space it's more private and you kind of go off and do your own thing. But then it also gave me the opportunity to connect with people who are seeking help, like actively seeking help, and who just need that connection. And so it's just, to me it's a more natural feel. The mental wellness speed dating is just like speed dating, so you get to kind of you're live. So the interactions are awesome, and all the other work, the mutual aid, the collective bank. There's a lot of stuff. The self care. I'm big on self care, so the self care housekeeping component is huge. So I can't wait for everyone to hear more and more about like each segment.
Yes, definitely. And mental wellness speed dating, that's one of my favorite things that we do. Mental health is such an important thing to me and everybody else, especially now. It's like we're all feeling the need for it. I was a part of a conversation yesterday, and it was funny because the one guy was like, "Duh, everybody keeps referring like, oh, my therapist said, don't nobody care what your therapist said." I was cracking up.
Maybe he doesn't have one.
Right, right. I was like, but it be like that though. Like, like that revelation, and it made me think about like that change over time. Like, right, like 5 years ago, that wasn't the conversation. Right. Like
Mm-mm.
conversation around mental health and like the openness, especially for Black and brown folks, like just this openness of like, oh yeah, my therapist, oh, I went to therapy today. Does anyone know a therapist? To today, we're like, that is like, that's what we're doing. Like, that's what we're on right now. And so like the mental wellness speed dating, because like, you know, though we're recognizing how important mental health is, it's still not easy to get linked up with the right types of support. So the mental wellness speed dating allows for us to do that, like, you know, in a really like seamless way. It's virtual, so you ain't got to leave your house. It's free, you know, for participants. So, you know, you ain't got to come out your pocket to figure out like if this person is even a match. And instead of like spending weeks to months to even over a year trying to track down a single person practitioner, like you get an opportunity to meet with multiple practitioners who provide something that you're looking for, whatever it is that you're looking for in the mental wellness sphere. Meet with them all at once and decide who you want to move forward with, right? Like, so that's been super cool. And like you said, like it's been a happy consequence that our practitioners have a space to convene and kind of like build relationship with each other, which I didn't know that wasn't a thing because I'm not a practitioner, but it's been really really dope and beautiful to watch that kind of happen. And so we're actually like working on building out intentional space for practitioners to not only like engage during mental wellness speed dating, but like overall. So I'm excited about that. But to your point, like, so that's one thing, right? Like, that's one component. But there's so many, like, and you know, because we just have the space to kind of grow and figure out, like, well, what do we need as a community? There's always space to be flexible and add on new things. For example, one of the things that is new that we just launched at the first of this year is our mom's virtual assistants, which we'll be talking more about that in depth later down the line on another live at 5. But that I'm also excited about. I think I'm actually just excited about everything. Like I'm always excited about all our pipelines, as we call it, because they're super dope. And they just like answer the need, right? So instead of blaming folks for like why, you know, like water's wet, essentially, you know, we're looking at, okay, if there is a constant issue with like folks being able to pay for rent, like let's disaggregate that and think about like, well, who, right? Like, and so like one of the things we recognize, especially being the Wellness Collective, folks have traditionally come to us for support. Oftentimes it's mothers with dependent children. And their barrier oftentimes is that they cannot work outside of the home because they have dependent children, right? Like, and especially during COVID, though it extended well before and will continue well after. But during COVID, you know, the schools, of course, were shut down. And even in the opening up, like there's the transportation is lacking and is still kind of spotty now. For us, for some parents who like their kids might be a little younger, like the safety component when it comes to childcare, the financial component when it comes to childcare is a huge barrier. And so they found themselves like, well, I'm going to be home, right? Like I'm not going to leave my baby. So, you know, and then that causes like instability in their financial resources. So being able to hire moms to be virtual assistants for companies or organizations, not only locally, but across the country is super dope, right? Like, because we get to provide our moms with livable wage employment, doing things that, quite frankly, mothers and women, like, we just kind of do naturally, like with the organizing and keeping things, like, it's just a thing that we do. And when you're a mother,
Management. Yep.
girl, like, you ain't got no choice. That's what you're doing. Like, so, you know, doing something that just comes naturally to us, like, that's super dope. So, of course, I'm excited about that as well. And we have several other things that we're offering. So I'm not going to get into all of them because we're only going to be on here for a quick second. But as we continue to do these lives at 5, we'll be focusing on a different topic each time we do it. So, you know, our next one will be about this, you know, this one, that one, and the third thing. So, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was gonna say, definitely at some point in the next week we'll have the infographic that says like what each live will be, like the topic, so people know what the topic will be as they tune in. This was just like a soft welcome, happy new year. And this is what's going on. All the things every Wednesday live at 5.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, as Tamara said, keep a lookout for those infographics to let you know what's going to come up, you know, for the next lives at 5. So going back to what the Wellness Collective is overall, because I want to make sure I say that clearly, and we will drill into what mutual aid is more as we continue to do these lives. but like again, it's a membership organization. So when we started, it was open because we were like, like the intention is to make sure people have what they need. It was super dope the way we got started. I thoroughly believe that we have everything we need in our own communities. We don't need to look outside of ourselves. What we do need to do is rethink what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just it's just been the case. If everybody's lifting a little bit, no one is put out, right? Like no one's doing more than what they can manage, if we're all lifting at the same time. And so
Right.
we've been able to support our neighbors with really small giving, small donation giving. So we'll have a neighbor say like they're $3,000 in the hole with their rent, they're about to be put out in like a day. Okay, great. And so what we would do is we'd reach into our community like, hey, like our neighbor, all of our neighbor is experiencing this really hard time. They need $3,000. Do you have five? And I make it very clear. Like when I say five, I do mean five. I'm not saying it just to be, courteous and expect you to like dig into your pocket and pull out 500. No, do you have five? Because
Right.
there's just enough of us, right? Like we don't need everybody giving like dropping the stacks of money like to support each other, because there's just enough of us. And with that, we've been able to support each other like like with $5, $3, $1, $10, $20, whatever folks feel comfortable giving. And that's actually at their resource. We've been able to support our neighbors in that way. So that's how we got started. But leaning into like, well, what does this actually look like for us? Like I don't really have an interest in being the next nonprofit, the next urban league or Catholic charities, and nothing against those folks. Like they serve a particular need. It's just not the need that we're looking to service. Our intention is to build an infrastructure with community that is either lacking or non-existent, so that everybody has what they need, like I said. So to be a member of the Wellness Collective, it is your membership dues, which is a minimum of $5 a month, or you can choose to donate 5 hours a month. If if the financial component you're not comfortable with or can't, just don't want to do it for whatever the reason. Plus recruiting one new member each month. So those are the parameters to be a part of the Wellness Collective. And with your membership, you have access to so many different resources. One, of course, the mutual aid. So, like I said, if you have found yourself in hard times, you'll have access to like, hey, like I need such and such amount of money to cover this like basic need to make sure that I don't lose my footing. And because like if you're a member, you have access to that type of support. But also like you have access to exclusive memberships that we hold with the Wellness Collective. You have access to capacity. So if you say like you have a project that you're interested in, you can lean into the Wellness Collective. If you need help with like grant writing or just kind of extra hands on deck. Access to our social enterprise. So thinking about Moms Virtual, and anything else that is revenue generating that goes into the Wellness Collective, into our community bank, which is what our mutual aid is housed. So just to name a few things that you get with being a member of the Wellness Collective. Like I said, we just wanted to pop on here really quick today, but we will be doing live at 5 on Wellness Wednesday from here on out. Like Tamara said, we're going to announce what those next lives will be, so you can anticipate what we're going to be focusing on at each one. So we're just super excited about it, and I'm always like super excited about anything on this collective. So that's my ramblings for today. Tamara, did you want to say anything else before we end today?
I just want to encourage everyone that it is still early in the year. So, whatever you did not touch in January because it went too quickly, you still can touch. So, even if it's just one thing on your to do list or creating that to do list for yourself, not just for your business, not for your career, not for your household, but for yourself, I would do that. I would strongly encourage you to do that. Even if you just get to a list, make a list to stay focused, to stay grounded, to stay centered, and reach out to your village if you need help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tamara, with being with us, with walking this walk with us, and believing truly in community, because that's truly what it takes, right? Like power is in the people, but in
Yep.
order to do that, we have to harness it. That means we got to come together and make this thing work. So thank you all again. We will see you next week for the next live at 5, and we'll announce what that's going to be about later.
Peace.